It's not about schisms or sects. It is about unity. We back with another ep on the Daily Vedantic. And today's episode is on a question that I get every once in a while. And famously, Vivekananda got this about 100 years ago when he was speaking to an audience in the US, where he was asked, "Did you come to reform us?" A woman was speaking as a Christian saying, "Did you come to reform us here in the West?" And he said, "No, I did not come to reform the Christian, the Muslim, or the Jew." And he said, "No, I came to make the Christian a better Christian, the Muslim a better Muslim, the Jew a better Jew." What does that mean? In the Vedantic context, especially in a non-dualistic Advaita Vedanta, so this would be the Advaitic, the non-dual approach to this question, what does that mean? Well, you have the historical split in the church a few different times, the Great Schism, then you have the Reformation, and it was church leaders and or sometimes just rogue priests, rogue practitioners trying to reform the church. Famously, Martin Luther, with his edict of all of the things that needed reformation. Vedanta actually doesn't say that any church, any lineage, any tradition, any religion needs any reformation. If anything, Vedanta is highlighting the truth between them all, especially with a phrase from the Rig Veda, the oldest of the Vedas that goes back 8,000 years. It says, "Truth is one, sages call it by many names." In fact, Vedanta is the only philosophy that I know of that disavows its own philosophy. It says, "Here is knowledge that will help you progress." This philosophy will help you progress in your spiritual growth and your personal growth and even in your worldly growth if you'd like to use it for that. But that at the end of the day, this is not the truth. This philosophy, none of these books, none of these texts, none of these concepts are the truth. Because the truth, it transcends any of this. The truth is not in words. It's not in books. It's in experience. The truth transcends it to such a degree within this philosophy that it basically says this philosophy is like a dream lion. Like a lion in the dream that roars, it's about to pounce on you and wakes you up. It's not real. The dream lion is not real. And yes, yet it had this utility to wake you up to the waking state, to elevate your perspective, even if it itself was not real. And that's what this philosophy wholly says about itself, is this is at best just a dreamline to wake you up to what is reality. So going back to this phrase, reformation or reaffirmation, this philosophy does not reform any Christian or any religious views. It reaffirms them. What do I mean by that? Well, it basically says get back to the basics. Get back to the basics of what any sage, lighthouse throughout history, that we're still talking about their ideas 2,000 years later. Get back to the basics of that message. You could ask ChatGPT, give me 30 quotes directly from Jesus. Not give me epistles written 300 years later, not 1,000 years later, not books that were written in 1985, but just get back to the quotes from Christ of the kingdom of heaven is within you. Or doesn't your scripture say ye are gods? These are quotes from Christ that rarely get any mention from the pulpit. But these are quotes directly from Christ nonetheless. Greater works than these you shall do. His last prayer at the Last Supper, before crucifixion, was praying that we might recognize our unity, the unity that he recognized between him and the Father. It's all right there, hidden in plain sight. These non-dualistic, Vedantic, philosophical truths that run through Sufism within Islam, Kabbalism, and Judaism. Obviously, runs through Buddhism. It is Vedantins are often called crypto-Buddhists. Buddhists are often called crypto-Vedantins because it is so similar. So you have it's in Jainism. It's in nearly every major tradition of philosophy, religion throughout history. Like I said, if it's lasted a few thousand years, it probably has a good bit of truth in it. This isn't meant to reform any hierarchical organization. It is a philosophy that just reaffirms the base level principles and concepts upon which that entire organization is built on. I know when I first came across this philosophy, first few years of just circling the wagon, seeing what it was saying, there was an unnerving aspect of, okay, will this be leaving everything I've ever known behind? I think after a while I just detached with, if that's what really questioning this experience and not just parroting what I've been told and saying, yes, this is what I believe, because I've been told I need to say words in this exact order to belong to this community. Instead of parroting, instead of just taking subjective knowledge or objective knowledge and just leaving it objective, but instead taking objective knowledge and realizing, okay, I need to make this subjective. I really need to know what I think. To then know what I'm saying is what I'm saying is my words and not just others. After a while, it just detached from worrying about belonging or not belonging. And then a few years later, about maybe 7, 8, 9 years in, just dawned on me that I was like, holy shit. My appreciation for the words of the sage that I followed my entire childhood, old JC. I had 10, maybe 100 times the appreciation. 100 times the appreciation for the principles he put forth, but more so for the example he set. And I've known about the Vivekananda quote for a while, but it's really hit home in the last few years where this philosophy is not about reformation. It is not about identifying with this group. It's not about in-group, out-group, disidentifying with that group. It's not about schisms or sects. It is about unity, recognition and reflection on that unity. And whatever tradition you may have come from or grown up with, this philosophy is wholly compatible with it. Hand in glove to where you might find yourself appreciating those principles, those examples, the words of those masters 100 times more, with a shift in perspective, a reaffirmation of the greatest order. And that's today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.